very warm welcome. This is Innovate Africa, and I'm Becky Anderson. Today, we are all about women empowering others. Well, water impacts so much of our lives, from what we drink, of course, to the food that we eat. And for farmers, their livelihoods and ours are dependent on access to water, even during a drought. Well, our next innovator grew up on a rural farm in Kenya and used that knowledge to build an app that bridges new technology with traditional practices. Farming remains a pillar of most economies in Africa. The majority of production comes from small farms that heavily rely on rain. So if it doesn't rain, the farmers have a problem. They need to prepare and minimize the negative effects. Muthoni Masinde is a computer scientist in South Africa who created a website and mobile app that warns farmers about looming drought conditions.
I grew up in the village, and I noticed that the farmers in the village do not have any form of science to tell when to plant or even where to plant and when. So they use indicators that they watch or they sense in the environment. They watch insects, they watch behavior of animals, and then they make a decision. I think it will rain in 2 weeks' time, so they prepare their land.
The tool combines ancient African knowledge with scientific data, for example, from weather stations, to come up with predictions. Masinde is partnered with the South African Weather Services and the universities of Free State and KwaZulu-Natal.
Scientific knowledge without the combination of indigenous knowledge lacks context. It is of utmost importance to factor it in. The reason why it has been eroded is mostly because of the perception that it is inferior to scientific knowledge.
Today, the project is recruiting a group of community liaison officers to collect knowledge from the local farmers.
So meaning every data that you submit into the database, we are going to come back to the farm and help based on the information that you've given.
Traditionally, farmers would look at the behavior of animals and plants to predict the weather.
Next to me is a tree by the name Acacia totiris. We believe that whenever it flowers, the rains are very near, 1 to 2 weeks to the onset. So immediately the tree flowers, the farmers started preparing their land, expecting the rains anytime.
The community liaison officers go and collect this knowledge, and it gets fed into the app and website which the farmers have access to.
It's gonna warn us. Everything is perfect. It's gonna help us.
Masinde says the app has been a great success. It's currently being used in 3 African countries by over 10,000 farmers, the majority of which are in Kenya, where Masinde is from, but also in Mozambique and in South Africa.
The first one is the information they're giving to our local scale farmers.
The mother of 4 has been invited to speak internationally, and she's won numerous awards for her work. Her project has received funding from both the South African and American governments.
They managed to avoid what many researchers go through. We call it Innovation Valley of Death. You come up with innovation, dive into the valley, and never come out. But I got out of that, and I can stand on the rooftop and say, I did it.